New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is just one of the Romney surrogates making Mitt Romney's electability argument for him.
He is the only person who I believe can legitimately take the fight to Barack Obama this November. And so as Republicans, we know we love our party. But I will tell you that if you're looking for the candidate who agrees with you on everything, buy a mirror. Okay? Buy a mirror.
Shira Toeplitz covers politics for Roll Call. Ari Shapiro is a White House correspondent for National Public Radio, and Neera Tanden is president of the Center for American Progress. Welcome all. Electability argument, Ari Shapiro. We have all these polls out today that show Romney's running a little bit better, but not a lot of it better. And suddenly, if the electability argument goes away for Mitt Romney, that's not great for those last-minute swing voters who may be looking for a conservative they connect with on a gut level.
That's right. And in terms of connecting on a gut level, you know, yesterday I was at the Jewish Republican Forum where all of the candidates, 6 of them anyway, including Romney and Gingrich, spoke. And people I spoke to loved Gingrich. They said he connected with them on a gut level. And so in the next few weeks, as we see a lot of this retail politicking in Iowa and New Hampshire, you're going to see that play out. And some of those undecided voters, I think, are going to make their decision based on who they personally like. And at least based on this Republican Jewish Forum yesterday, they personally liked Gingrich a whole lot.
Shira Toeplitz, you spent a lot of time on Capitol Hill. One of the things that the Romney campaign is contemplating, right, is just to bring as many members that have worked with Newt Gingrich as possible to sort of serve as anti-testimonials. And we've got some members of the establishment. Dan Quayle this morning on the Today Show, you heard from Governor Sununu, Senator Sununu, who's not committed, even tweak the speaker there. But Newt Gingrich has what I would argue, a pretty powerful pushback on all of these. He was asked, for instance, about Tom Coburn's criticism, as you heard from Governor Romney. Here's what Newt said yesterday.
You have to ask Tom Coburn. I mean, look, I wish everybody had loved me, but I'd rather be effective representing the American people than be popular inside Washington.
The risk of going after Newt for not having, for people that worked with him not being happy with him. There's some risk.
I think there's a little bit of risk if he wins and he's the nominee for these members of Congress. But I can tell you there's a huge crowd. Romney doesn't exactly have his work cut out from him finding members of Congress who served under Gingrich who will come out against him. Right. Every day I talk to a Republican House member who just says they have Gingrich's tenure as Speaker left a terrible taste in their mouth. You know, Neera, your side is it looks like you're starting to turn the aircraft carrier and say, okay, we've been effective hitting Romney, and I think there's a lot of Republicans who believe that the Democratic machine has been taken a toll on Romney. Are you starting to get nervous about Newt?
No. Look, I mean, I think Newt is in many ways a really good candidate. He really speaks to the anger in the Republican Party.
One could argue channels it better than anybody running, whether it's the president or others.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of anger out there.
No, but he channels the Republican anger. I mean, I think one of the reasons why he's doing so well is that Mitt Romney's criticism of Obama was targeted towards, you know, independents. Like, he's a good guy, but he can't, you know, he's just over his head, really. Newt Gingrich has an argument against Obama that is entirely focused on the Republican conservative base, which is filled with vitriol and hatred. And I think the challenge, I mean, I think that will ultimately turn off independents. But I will say that, you know, it's enjoyable as a Democrat to see this level of squabble and see Republicans turning on each other this viciously.
Well, Ari, in many ways, though, this was inevitable. You're getting close for 26 days from there. Mitt Romney got some help today, not just from a Governor Romney, Governor Sununu, or a Senator Talent that did that call. The Wall Street editorial board beat Gingrich up over his stance on Medicare, which seems to be where the Romney people want to go. They want to make Paul Ryan the litmus test, which, by the way, some Republicans aren't going to be happy about that.
Sure.
But let me read to you what the Wall Street Journal editorial board wrote today. The contradictions of Mr. Gingrich's entitlement plan reveal part of his political character, which is that his policies often don't match the high decibel, sometimes grandiose nature of his rhetoric. He might achieve more if he spoke more softly and carried a bigger stick. So, same argument that you heard Governor Sununu trying to make, which is trying to tie sort of the Gingrich ego to the policy.
Right. So what's interesting to me is Nira talks about Republicans turning against each other. Gingrich has made a promise not to turn against Romney or the other Republicans in the primary field. As we start to see all of these weapons trained at Gingrich and Romney in the Wall Street Journal editorial page, not to mention the Obama re-election campaign firing away at Gingrich, I wonder whether we are going to see the Gingrich campaign keep that promise not to fire back at Romney and the other Republicans, or whether they will decide, you know what, we've got to return fire and go after Romney and attack him after all.
Go ahead,
the only thing I would say about that is that, look, you know, I think it's helpful to have all these people attack him, and I think it's going to be hard. I think as a front runner, you're in the best position when everyone's attacking you and you're taking on the president. I think he's actually going to be strengthened by this, and I think it's going to really weaken Romney that he has to go to be so negative. There'll be a negative reaction to that.
Well, and Shira, there is this, you know, there's talk that the Gingrich folks want to start actually rolling out that they will have a lot of members of Congress that will support him, and that it might blunt these attacks that are coming, that the whisper campaign, frankly, that's coming from the class of '94.
Yeah, I mean, they might have some members come out. Lynn Westmoreland, member from Georgia, came out today and endorsed Gingrich. But look, Romney's list of member endorsements is very, very long. It's hard to see anyone really catching up with him at this point.
All right, Shira, Ari, Nira, stick around. Have more after the break. Trivia time. We asked who is the first woman in history to be elected both governor and senator of a state. The answer is Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire. She's not only the first woman to be elected to both, she's the only one. And by the way, she tweeted in the correct answer. We're not sure whether we're going to give her credit to being the first correct answer. We'll be right back. You're watching the Daily Rundown, only on MSNBC.